Hello everyone, my name is Kosienka. This is my second video. The introduction is here if you want to check it out. And today I want to talk about something that is in the core of my work. And in my opinion, one of the most important things in the world to understand, which is that the more intense our human emotions are, the more likely they are to be unrealistic. Not always, but usually. Unfortunately, it's too easy to believe the opposite, which is exactly why we have so many often ridiculous conflicts among people. When you look at people in conflict, when there are strong emotions involved, for example, in an epic battle over who left the toilet seat up or who should park in a certain parking space, are they likely to act like adults, to communicate like adults? Usually not. But when we do that, we feel justified. We feel our emotions are reality. And often after a couple of hours and a couple of days, we regret it. You've probably been there yourself, although of course it's much easier to notice when other people are in question, like in a movie. I know it can sound weird and abstract for somebody who is unfamiliar with this, but it is what I find day after day after day with my clients. Some of the most common examples are people being afraid of making even small mistakes, people getting lost and not finding words in front of their bosses, controlling behavior, sensitivity to criticism and disagreement, falling in love with emotionally unhealthy people, and generally whenever people behave like cats ridden by motorbikes. So, how and why does it happen? I'd say it's because the first impressions in the early years of our lives are the most intense. And in those first years of our lives, we learn very quickly and very intensely how to adapt to our family, what seems to give the best results with the least pain. And we watch how our parents react to stressful situations because it's our natural instinct to learn from them. So even when we grow up, those first impressions are still deep in our unconscious mind, and our brains unconsciously resort to them in stressful situations, especially if those situations are similar to stress we experienced in childhood. The problem is that childhood perspective is usually very oversimplified, very exaggerated. As children, we don't have a complex understanding and perspective of what is going on, so the impressions we create as children are usually both strong and wrong. But in early childhood, following our family and adapting to them means survival. And some old parts of your brain still seem to believe that behaving in such a way means survival. It's also much easier to traumatize a child than an adult person. So some of these strong emotional reactions can be expressions of childhood PTSD. Opposite to that, our adult and realistic emotions are usually much more calm, reasonable, and we are able not to take things so personally, even when the emotion is unpleasant. That is because when we see things from an adult perspective, we can see all the complexity of a situation and why other people might unconsciously make mistakes. Young children cannot understand their parents' mistakes, so they create wrong conclusions, and on top of that, children tend to believe it's all about them. When we let those childish emotions overpower our adult minds, which happens easily because such emotions are usually very strong, we can avoid opportunities, we can create big conflicts over small things, and in extreme cases, even so-called crime of passion is usually a result of some childish emotion combined with bad role models. In fact, It wouldn't surprise me at all if most wars were started out of childish emotions. So I believe that if more people, and hopefully majority, would pay attention to where their emotions are really coming from, we could avoid a lot of conflict, a lot of unhappy relationships and divorce, and possibly even some wars. I wish this was taught in schools, and who knows, maybe I'll live to see it someday. One of the best questions to check where an emotion is coming from is to ask yourself who or what does this remind me of? And the next is how old do I feel in this feeling? The problem is it's usually much easier to determine it once we are out of that emotion than when we are in it. But we can learn and keep trying. One important exception to all of this is the instinct that warns us that we are in danger. Sometimes we can suddenly feel fear without an obvious reason, and it can mean that our subconscious mind is picking up on subtle signals of danger from our environment. The more we learn to explore our emotions, the more easy it becomes to distinguish between childish emotions, adult emotions, and the gut feeling that comes from unconscious information processing. I've written about it a lot. I'll paste some links in the description, and of course, I'll make more videos and guided exercises. So please subscribe to stay tuned. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.